Hey everyone, welcome to Stoic Saga. Today, we're diving into some life-changing lessons straight from the wisdom of the ancient Stoics. Have you ever wondered how your choices ripple through your life and others? Or why sometimes what seems like harm isn't really harm at all? And what about those opinions we cling to? Are they really worth it? We're going to explore all of this and more, breaking down complex ideas into simple, actionable steps that you can start applying right now. Have you ever thought about how understanding the underlying patterns of your life could lead to better decisions? Or how letting go of feeling harmed by every little thing could transform your life? And what if those deeply held opinions are actually holding you back from growth and understanding? Today, we're going to tackle these thought-provoking questions and uncover some profound insights. If you enjoy this series, make sure to hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and give us a thumbs up. And don't forget to write, "Keep it up" in the comments if you love this series. Let's get started. Lesson 1. Observe cause and effect. Your cosmic detective's guide to connecting the dots and not getting played by the universe. All right, folks, let's talk about cause and effect. No, we're not diving into a physics lecture. We're talking about the real-world, everyday kind of cause and effect. The choices we make, the actions we take, and the ripple effects they create in our lives and the lives of others. The domino effect. Life's a chain reaction, a cosmic game of dominoes. Every action we take, no matter how small, sets off a chain of events that can have far-reaching consequences. Sometimes, those consequences are obvious and immediate. Other times, they're subtle and delayed, like a butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil and causing a tornado in Texas. As the philosopher Alan Watts put it, the only way to make sense out of change is to plunge into it, move with it, and join the dance. In other words, we're all part of this grand cosmic dance of cause and effect, and the sooner we understand the steps, the better we can move to the rhythm. The philosophical detective. The ancient Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca, were big on observing cause and effect. They believed that by understanding the natural laws of the universe, we could live in harmony with them and achieve a state of tranquility. As Marcus Aurelius put it, everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. In other words, we need to look beyond the surface of things, dig deeper, and connect the dots to understand the underlying causes and effects. So, how do we become cosmic detectives and unravel the mysteries of cause and effect in our own lives? 1. Pay attention. Start by paying attention to your own thoughts, feelings, and actions. Notice how they affect you and the people around you. What are the triggers that lead to certain behaviors? What are the consequences of your choices? 2. Look for patterns. Are there recurring patterns in your life? Do you tend to react the same way to certain situations? Do your choices consistently lead to certain outcomes? By identifying patterns, you can start to understand the underlying causes and effects in your life. 3. Take responsibility. Don't blame others or external circumstances for your problems. Take responsibility for your own actions and choices. As the saying goes, you can't control the wind, but you can adjust your sails. 4. Experiment. Try different approaches and see what works. If you're not happy with the results you're getting, change your strategy. As the scientist Richard Feynman said, the first principle is that you must not fool yourself, and you are the easiest person to fool. 5. Learn from others. Observe how other people's actions and choices affect their lives. learn from their successes and their mistakes. As the philosopher Seneca said, associate with people who are likely to improve you. Welcome those whom you are capable of improving. The process is a mutual one. Men learn as they teach. Let's explore how this concept is applied in daily life. The health nut. The health nut understands that their diet and exercise habits have a direct impact on their physical and mental well-being. They make healthy choices, track their progress, and adjust their routine as needed. The relationship guru. The relationship guru understands that their communication style, their level of empathy, and their willingness to compromise all play a role in the success of their relationships. They work on improving their communication skills, practicing active listening, and finding win-win solutions to conflicts. The financial wizard. The financial wizard understands that their spending habits, their investment choices, and their financial literacy all impact their financial well-being. They create a budget, track their expenses, and make informed investment decisions. The bottom line: life is a complex web of cause and effect. By paying attention, looking for patterns, taking responsibility, experimenting, and learning from others, we can become better at navigating this web and creating the lives we want. As the philosopher Alan Watts put it, the only way to make sense out of change is to plunge into it, move with it, and join the dance. Lesson 2. No harm, no foul. Your philosophical guide to rolling with life's punches and not sweating the small stuff. All right, folks, let's have a heart-to-heart about something we all experience: getting our feathers ruffled. You know those moments when someone cuts you off in traffic, your boss criticizes your work, or your friend forgets your birthday? It stings, right? It feels like a personal attack, a deliberate attempt to inflict pain. But here's the thing: harm is not always what it seems. In fact, it's often more about our perception of events than the events themselves. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus famously said, it's not things that upset us, but our judgments about things. The harm illusion. We live in a world that's constantly bombarding us with stimuli: news headlines, social media posts, political debates, personal dramas. It's easy to get caught up in the negativity, to feel like we're constantly under attack, and to see harm where none exists. But the Stoics, those wise folks from ancient Greece and Rome, had a different perspective. They believed that external events are neutral, and that it's our judgments and reactions to those events that determine whether or not we experience harm. As Marcus Aurelius put it, choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been. The power of perspective. So how do we shift our perspective and avoid feeling harmed by every little thing that goes wrong? 1. Question your assumptions. When something happens that upsets you, don't just react. Take a step back and question your assumptions. Is this really a big deal? Is this person intentionally trying to hurt me? Is there another way to interpret this situation? 2. Reframe your narrative. Our minds are constantly creating stories about our experiences. When something bad happens, we often tell ourselves a story that amplifies the negativity and makes us feel worse. Instead, try to reframe the narrative. Look for the silver lining, the lesson to be learned, or the opportunity for growth. 3. Focus on what you can control. You can't control what other people say or do, but you can control your own thoughts, emotions, and reactions. As Epictetus said, the chief task in life is simply this: to identify and separate matters so that I can say clearly to myself which are externals not under my control, and which have to do with the choices I actually control. 4. Practice acceptance. Not everything is going to go our way. People will disappoint us, things will go wrong, and life will throw us curveballs. By accepting this reality, we can reduce our suffering and find peace in the present moment. 5. Cultivate resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from setbacks and challenges. It's about learning from our experiences, adapting to new circumstances, and finding strength in adversity. Let's explore how this concept is applied in daily life. The rude comment. A stranger makes a rude comment to you. Instead of getting angry and dwelling on the insult, you can choose to brush it off, recognizing that their words say more about them than they do about you. The missed promotion. You're passed over for a promotion at work. Instead of feeling resentful and defeated, you can choose to see this as an opportunity to learn new skills, improve your performance, and pursue other career opportunities. The social media. Snub. A friend doesn't invite you to a party. Instead of feeling hurt and excluded, you can choose to reach out to them directly, clarify any misunderstandings, and focus on building stronger connections with other friends. The bottom line: harm is not always what it seems. It's often a product of our own judgments, interpretations, and reactions. By questioning our assumptions, reframing our narratives, focusing on what we can control, practicing acceptance, and cultivating resilience, we can reduce our suffering and find peace in the face of adversity. As the philosopher Marcus Aurelius put it, choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been. Lesson 3. Opinions are like farts in a hurricane, and why you shouldn't cling to them. All right, folks, let's have a heart-to-heart about opinions. No, we're not talking about your favorite ice cream flavor or your preferred brand of sneakers. We're talking about those deeply held beliefs, those convictions that we cling to like a life raft in a stormy sea. We're talking about the opinions that shape our worldview, our relationships, and our actions. The opinion epidemic. We live in a world that's saturated with opinions. Everyone's got a hot take on everything, from politics to pop culture to the best way to brew coffee. We're constantly bombarded with opinions on social media, cable news, and even from our own friends and family. But here's the thing: opinions are like farts in a hurricane. They're fleeting, transient, and easily blown away by the winds of change. They're often based on incomplete information, personal biases, and emotional reactions. And they can be incredibly divisive, leading to arguments, conflict, and even violence. As the philosopher Bertrand Russell put it, the whole problem with the world is that fools and fanatics are always so certain of themselves, but wiser people so full of doubts. The philosophical perspective. The ancient philosophers, like Socrates and the Buddha, understood the limitations of opinions. They taught us to question our assumptions, to be open to new ideas, and to cultivate a sense of intellectual humility. As Socrates famously said, "I know that I know nothing." In other words, the more we learn, the more we realize how little we actually know. This realization can be humbling, but it's also liberating. It frees us from the need to be right all the time and opens us up to the possibility of learning and growing. The opinion makeover. So, how do we transform our relationship with opinions and avoid getting caught up in the endless cycle of debate and disagreement? 1. The opinion audit. Take inventory of your opinions. What are your most deeply held beliefs? Where did these beliefs come from? Are they based on evidence, experience, or just hearsay. 2. The challenge mode. Don't just accept your opinions as gospel truth. Challenge them. Seek out opposing viewpoints, engage in respectful dialogue, and be open to the possibility that you might be wrong. As the philosopher John Stuart Mill said, "He who knows only his own side of the case knows little of that." 3. The detachment practice. Don't get too attached to your opinions. Remember, they're just thoughts, not facts. They can change, evolve, and even disappear over time. As the Buddhist teacher Pema Chodron put it, opinions are really the cheapest commodities on earth. Everyone has a whole bunch of them. 4. The focus shift. Instead of focusing on being right, focus on understanding. Seek to understand the underlying reasons behind other people's opinions, even if you don't agree with them. As the psychologist Carl Rogers said, "The greatest gift you can give another is the purity of your attention." 5. The humility hack. Cultivate a sense of intellectual humility. Recognize that you don't have all the answers and that there's always more to learn. As the physicist Richard Feynman said, "The first principle is that you must not fool yourself, and you are the easiest person to fool." Let's explore how this concept is applied in daily life. The political pundit. The political pundit who's always on TV spouting their opinions might seem confident and knowledgeable, but they're often just regurgitating talking points and reinforcing their own biases. The social media warrior. The social media warrior who spends hours arguing with strangers online might think they're changing hearts and minds, but they're more likely just fueling the flames of division and polarization. The open-minded learner. The open-minded learner is always willing to listen to different perspectives, even if they challenge their own beliefs. They see disagreement as an opportunity for growth and understanding, not a threat to their ego. The bottom line: opinions are like farts in a hurricane. They're fleeting, transient, and often full of hot air. By questioning our assumptions, challenging our beliefs, practicing detachment, focusing on understanding, and cultivating humility, we can break free from the opinion trap and embrace a more open-minded, compassionate, and intellectually honest approach to life. As the philosopher Voltaire said, "Doubt is not a pleasant condition, but certainty is absurd." Lesson 4. The real good is simple, your antidote to the overwhelm epidemic, and why your brain will thank you. All right, folks, let's dive into a concept that's as refreshing as a cold glass of lemonade on a sweltering day. The real good is simple. No, we're not talking about dumbing things down or settling for mediocrity. We're talking about cutting through the crap, ditching the unnecessary, and focusing on what truly matters. We're talking about a life that's less cluttered, less complicated, and more aligned with our values and passions. The complexity conundrum. Let's face it, we live in a world that's obsessed with complexity. We think that more is always better. More money, more stuff, more choices, more information. We're constantly bombarded with messages telling us that we need to be busier, more productive, more connected. But all this complexity comes at a cost. It overwhelms our minds, stresses us out, and leaves us feeling empty and unfulfilled. As the philosopher Henry David Thoreau put it, our life is frittered away by detail. Simplify, simplify. In other words, we're so busy chasing after the next big thing that we forget to appreciate the simple joys of life. The philosophical roots of simplicity. The idea that the good life is a simple life is not new. The ancient philosophers like Epictetus and the Stoics emphasized the importance of moderation, contentment, and focusing on what truly matters. Epictetus, for example, believed that the highest good is pleasure, but not the fleeting pleasures of the senses. He advocated for simple pleasures like friendship, good conversation, and a peaceful mind. The Stoics, on the other hand, emphasized the importance of virtue, wisdom, and living in accordance with nature. They believed that by simplifying our lives and focusing on what we can control, we could achieve inner peace and tranquility. The simple life advantage. So, what's the advantage of living a simpler life? 1. Clarity. When we simplify our lives, we declutter our minds. We have more mental bandwidth to focus on what's important, to make better decisions, and to think more clearly. 2. Peace of mind. Simplicity reduces stress and anxiety. When we're not constantly bombarded with choices, information, and distractions, we can finally relax and enjoy the present moment. 3. Deeper connections. When we simplify our lives, we have more time and energy for the people and activities that matter most to us. We can cultivate deeper relationships, pursue our passions, and make a real difference in the world. 4. Contentment. Simplicity leads to contentment. When we're not constantly chasing after more, we learn to appreciate what we have and find joy in the simple things. Modern-day minimalism. The minimalist movement is a modern-day manifestation of the ancient philosophy of simplicity. Minimalists advocate for decluttering our homes, our schedules, and our digital lives. They believe that by owning less, doing less, and consuming less, we can live more meaningful and fulfilling lives. Practical steps towards simplicity. 1. Declutter your home. Get rid of anything you don't use, need, or love. Donate, sell, or recycle unwanted items. 2. Simplify your schedule. Say no to commitments that don't align with your values or goals. Create white space in your calendar for rest, relaxation, and creative pursuits. 3. Reduce digital distractions. Turn off notifications, set limits on your screen time, and create tech-free zones in your home. 4. Prioritize experiences over things. Invest in experiences that bring you joy, rather than accumulating material possessions. 5. Practice gratitude. Take time each day to appreciate the good things in your life. This could involve keeping a gratitude journal, writing thank you notes, or simply taking a few moments to reflect on the things you're grateful for. The bottom line. The real good is simple. It's not about deprivation or sacrifice, but about intentionality and focus. By simplifying our lives, we can declutter our minds, reduce stress, deepen our relationships, and find more joy and contentment in the present moment. As the writer Antoine de Saint-Exupéry put it, perfection is achieved, not when there is nothing more to add, but when there is nothing left to take away. Lesson 5. Don't let your attention slide. Your mind is a Ferrari, not a bumper car. All right, folks, let's have a heart-to-heart about attention. Not the "look at me, I'm so shiny" kind of attention, but the focused, laser-like attention that allows us to truly engage with the world around us, to learn, to create, and to connect with others on a deeper level. The attention deficit disorder epidemic. Let's face it, we live in a world that's designed to distract us. Our phones buzz with notifications, our inboxes overflow with emails, and our social media feeds are an endless stream of memes, clickbait, and outrage. It's no wonder our attention spans are shrinking faster than a polar ice cap. As the philosopher William James put it, the faculty of voluntarily bringing back a wandering attention over and over again is the very root of judgment, character, and will. In other words, our ability to focus our attention is essential for everything from making good decisions to achieving our goals to living a meaningful life. The philosophical focus. The ancient philosophers like Aristotle and Confucius understood the importance of attention and focus. They believed that our minds are like muscles that need to be trained and exercised. They taught us techniques like meditation and mindfulness to help us cultivate a more focused and attentive mind. As the Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh put it, "The present moment is filled with joy and happiness. If you are attentive, you will see it." So, how do we reclaim our attention and break free from the distractions that are constantly vying for our mental real estate? 1. The digital detox. Take regular breaks from technology. Turn off your phone, close your laptop, and step away from the screens. Spend time in nature, read a book, have a conversation with a loved one. As the writer Cal Newport put it, clarity about what matters provides clarity about what does not. 2. The Pomodoro technique. This time management method involves working in focused 25-minute intervals followed by short breaks. It's a great way to break down large tasks into manageable chunks and avoid burnout. 3. The mindfulness muscle. Mindfulness is the practice of paying attention to the present moment without judgment. By cultivating mindfulness, we can become more aware of our thoughts and feelings, and we can learn to gently redirect our attention back to the task at hand. 4. The single-tasking superhero. Multitasking is a myth. Our brains are not wired to do multiple things at once. When we try to multitask, we end up doing each task poorly and feeling stressed and overwhelmed. Focus on one task at a time and give it your full attention. 5. The environmental engineer. Our physical environment has a huge impact on our ability to focus. Create a workspace that's free of distractions, with good lighting, comfortable seating, and minimal clutter. As the saying goes, a cluttered desk is a cluttered mind. Let's explore how this concept is applied in daily life. The distracted student. The distracted student struggles to focus on their studies because they're constantly checking their phone and scrolling through social media. By setting aside dedicated study time, turning off notifications, and using the Pomodoro technique, they can improve their focus and achieve their academic goals. The overwhelmed entrepreneur. The overwhelmed entrepreneur is constantly juggling multiple projects and deadlines. By prioritizing their tasks, delegating when possible, and taking regular breaks, they can reduce their stress levels and improve their productivity. The creative professional. The creative professional needs to focus their attention to tap into their creativity and produce their best work. By creating a distraction-free workspace, scheduling regular creative time, and practicing mindfulness, they can unleash their full creative potential. The bottom line: your attention is your most valuable asset. It's what allows you to learn, to create, to connect, and to live a meaningful life. Don't let it be hijacked by distractions and mindless scrolling. By cultivating a more focused and attentive mind, you can achieve your goals, improve your relationships, and experience the world in a whole new way. As the philosopher William James put it, "My experience is what I agree to attend to." So, choose wisely what you give your attention to, and don't let it slide. Lesson 6. The Marks of a Rational Person, your brain's user manual for thinking straight and avoiding the crazy train. All right, folks, let's talk about being rational. No, we're not talking about being a Spock-like Vulcan or a cold, calculating robot. We're talking about using your brain power to make sound decisions, solve problems effectively, and navigate the complexities of life with a clear head and a level-headed approach. The irrationality epidemic. Let's face it, we live in a world that's full of irrationality. We're bombarded with fake news, conspiracy theories, and emotional appeals that are designed to manipulate our thinking and cloud our judgment. We see people making decisions based on fear, greed, and prejudice, rather than logic and reason. As the philosopher Bertrand Russell put it, most people would rather die than think. In fact, they do so. In other words, it's easier to go with the flow, follow the crowd, and avoid the mental effort required for rational thought. The philosophical roots of rationality. The ancient Greeks, like Aristotle and Socrates, were pioneers in the field of rationality. They believed that reason is what separates us from animals, and that by using our rational faculties, we can achieve knowledge, wisdom, and a good life. As Aristotle put it, the ultimate value of life depends upon awareness and the power of contemplation rather than upon mere survival. So, what are the marks of a rational person? 1. Critical thinking. A rational person is a critical thinker. They don't just accept information at face value. They question everything, seek out evidence, and evaluate arguments based on their merits, not on their emotional appeal or the authority of the speaker. 2. Open-mindedness. A rational person is open-minded. They're willing to consider different perspectives, even if they don't agree with them. They're not afraid to change their minds when presented with new evidence or a compelling argument. 3. Objectivity. A rational person strives for objectivity. They try to see things as they are, not as they wish them to be. They're aware of their own biases and prejudices, and they try to compensate for them. 4. Logic and reason. A rational person uses logic and reason to arrive at conclusions. They're not swayed by emotions, fallacies, or wishful thinking. They follow the evidence where it leads, even if it contradicts their preconceived notions. 5. Intellectual humility. A rational person is humble about their own knowledge and understanding. They recognize that they don't have all the answers, and they're always open to learning more. Let's explore how this concept is applied in daily life. The scientist. Scientists are trained to be rational thinkers. They use the scientific method to test hypotheses, gather evidence, and draw conclusions based on data, not on personal beliefs or opinions. The judge. Judges are expected to be impartial and objective. They must weigh the evidence, apply the law, and make decisions based on reason, not on emotion or prejudice. The skeptic. Skeptics are known for their critical thinking skills and their willingness to question everything. They demand evidence for claims, challenge assumptions, and refuse to be swayed by emotional appeals or logical fallacies. The bottom line: being rational is not about being cold or emotionless. It's about using your brain power to make sound decisions, solve problems effectively, and live a more fulfilling life. By cultivating critical thinking, open-mindedness, objectivity, logic, and intellectual humility, you can become a more rational person and navigate the complexities of life with clarity and confidence. As the philosopher Bertrand Russell put it, The demand for certainty is one which is natural to man, but is nevertheless an intellectual vice. In other words, it's okay to not have all the answers. The key is to be open to new information, to be willing to change your mind, and to always strive for a deeper understanding of the world around you. Lesson 7. The mind is all yours. Your brain's a fortress. Don't let the trolls. In all right, folks, let's talk about something that's more valuable than any cryptocurrency or luxury real estate: your mind. No, we're not talking about your IQ or your memory, although those are important too. We're talking about the vast landscape of your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and values. We're talking about the inner sanctum where you make decisions, process information, and create your own reality. The mental hijacking. In today's world, our minds are under constant attack. Advertisers, politicians, social media influencers, and even our own friends and family are constantly trying to influence our thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors. We're bombarded with information, opinions, and agendas from all sides. It's like our minds are being hijacked, our thoughts held hostage by external forces. As the philosopher Epictetus put it, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. In other words, we can't always control the external events of our lives, but we can control how we respond to them. We can choose to be influenced by outside forces, or we can choose to think for ourselves. The Stoic citadel. The ancient Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca, understood the importance of mental sovereignty. They believed that our minds are our own, and that we have the power to cultivate inner peace, resilience, and wisdom, regardless of external circumstances. As Marcus Aurelius put it, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. So, how do we build a mental fortress and protect our minds from the constant onslaught of external influences? 1. Guard the gates. Be mindful of what you let into your mind. Choose your information sources wisely. Limit your exposure to negativity, propaganda, and sensationalism. As the saying goes, garbage in, garbage out. 2. Cultivate critical thinking. Don't just accept everything you hear or read at face value. Question everything, challenge assumptions, and seek out diverse perspectives. As the philosopher Bertrand Russell said, the whole problem with the world is that fools and fanatics are always so certain of themselves, but wiser people so full of doubts. 3. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of paying attention to the present moment without judgment. By cultivating mindfulness, we can become more aware of our thoughts and emotions, and we can learn to choose which thoughts we want to entertain and which ones we want to let go of. 4. Develop your own philosophy. Don't just adopt the beliefs and values of others. Take the time to reflect on your own experiences, your own values, and your own understanding of the world. Develop your own philosophy of life, one that guides your actions, your choices, and your interactions with others. 5. Stand your ground. Don't be afraid to disagree with others, to challenge the status quo, or to stand up for what you believe in. As the philosopher Rosa Luxemburg said, freedom is always and exclusively freedom for the one who thinks differently. Let's explore how this concept is applied in daily life. The independent thinker. The independent thinker doesn't just parrot the opinions of others. They do their own research, form their own conclusions, and are not afraid to go against the grain. The mindful consumer. The mindful consumer is not swayed by advertising or peer pressure. They make conscious choices about what they buy, what they watch, and what they believe in. The resilient activist. The resilient activist doesn't let the negativity and hatred of others deter them from their mission. They stay true to their values, fight for what they believe in, and inspire others to do the same. The bottom line. Your mind is yours. It's your most valuable asset, your most powerful tool, your most sacred space. Don't let anyone else control it. By guarding the gates of your mind, cultivating critical thinking, practicing mindfulness, developing your own philosophy, and standing your ground, you can reclaim your mental sovereignty and live a life that's truly your own. As the philosopher Immanuel Kant put it, enlightenment is man's emergence from his self-incurred immaturity. Lesson 8. A productive use for contempt, your philosophical BS detector, and how to use it to your advantage. All right, folks, let's talk about contempt. No, we're not talking about the kind of disdain you feel for that annoying coworker or the latest political scandal. We're talking about a philosophical tool, a way of thinking that can help you cut through the crap, see things as they really are, and make better decisions in a world that's constantly trying to pull the wool over your eyes. The contempt conundrum. Contempt gets a bad rap. It's often associated with negativity, cynicism, and a general disdain for humanity. But the Stoics, those ancient masters of mental fortitude, saw contempt as a valuable tool for achieving clarity, objectivity, and inner peace. As Marcus Aurelius put it, just as when meat or other foods are set before us, we think this is a dead fish, a dead bird or pig, and also this Falernian wine is only the juice of a bunch of grapes. This purple-edged robe just sheep's wool dyed with a bit of blood from a shellfish. So it is with all the objects of desire. In other words, by stripping away the fancy packaging and looking at things for what they truly are, we can avoid getting caught up in the hype, the illusions, and the distractions that can lead us astray. The philosophical lens of contempt. Contempt in this context is not about being mean or judgmental. It's about seeing things clearly, without the rose-colored glasses of our emotions or desires. It's about recognizing the impermanence of things, the fleeting nature of pleasure, and the ultimate insignificance of many of the things we chase after. By cultivating a healthy dose of contempt, we can 1. Gain perspective. When we see things as they truly are, we're less likely to get caught up in the drama, the hype, and the trivialities of life. We can focus on what truly matters and make decisions that are aligned with our values and goals. 2. Reduce attachment. By recognizing the impermanence of things, we can loosen our grip on material possessions, external validation, and fleeting pleasures. This can lead to greater inner peace and contentment. 3. Make better decisions. When we're not swayed by emotions or desires, we can make more rational, objective decisions. We can see through the marketing hype, the social pressure, and the FOMO that often cloud our judgment. 4. Cultivate resilience. By accepting the harsh realities of life, we can build resilience and develop the mental fortitude to face challenges with equanimity. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca put it, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Let's explore how this concept is applied in daily life. The social media detox. By applying a healthy dose of contempt to the curated highlight reels we see on social media, we can avoid the comparison trap and focus on our own lives. The consumerist cure. By recognizing that the latest gadget or fashion trend is just a fleeting pleasure, We can resist the urge to overspend and focus on experiences and relationships that bring lasting joy. The career clarity. By stripping away the prestige and glamour associated with certain careers, we can focus on finding work that's truly meaningful and fulfilling. The relationship reality check. By seeing our partners and ourselves with all their flaws and imperfections, we can cultivate a more realistic and sustainable love. The bottom line. Contempt, when used wisely, can be a powerful tool for personal growth and self-improvement. It's not about being cynical or negative. It's about seeing things clearly, without the filter of our emotions or desires. By cultivating a healthy dose of contempt, we can gain perspective, reduce attachment, make better decisions, and cultivate resilience. As the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche put it, "He who would learn to fly one day must first learn to stand and walk and run and climb and dance. One cannot fly into flying." So start practicing your contempt, folks, and get ready to soar. Lesson 9. There is philosophy in everything. Your mind-blowing guide to finding meaning in a bag of Doritos. All right, folks, let's talk about philosophy. No, we're not talking about dusty old books or abstract theories, although those can be pretty cool. We're talking about philosophy as a way of life, a lens through which to view the world, a tool for understanding ourselves and our place in the universe. And the best part, you don't need a PhD to do it. Philosophy is everywhere, lurking in the most unexpected places, just waiting to be discovered. The philosophy of everyday life. Think about it. Every choice you make, every action you take, every thought you have is infused with philosophical implications. From the mundane to the profound, from the cereal you choose for breakfast to the career path you pursue, there's a philosophical dimension to everything. As the philosopher Alan Watts put it, this is the real secret of life, to be completely engaged with what you are doing in the here and now, and instead of calling it work, realize it is play. In other words, even the most ordinary activities can be imbued with meaning and purpose when we approach them with a philosophical mindset. So, how do we unlock the hidden philosophy in our everyday lives? 1. Question everything. Don't just accept things at face value. Ask questions, challenge assumptions, and seek out deeper truths. As the philosopher Socrates famously said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." 2. Look for patterns. Philosophy is all about finding patterns and connections. Look for patterns in nature, in human behavior, in the events of your own life. As the physicist Fritjof Capra put it, the universe is not a collection of objects, but an interconnected web of relationships. 3. Embrace paradox. Life is full of paradoxes. The more we learn, the more we realize how little we know. The harder we try to control things, the less control we have. The more we give, the more we receive. By embracing paradox, we can expand our thinking and open ourselves up to new possibilities. 4. Find meaning in the mundane. Even the most ordinary activities can be imbued with meaning and purpose. Washing dishes can be a meditation on impermanence. Commuting to work can be a time for reflection and contemplation. As the poet Mary Oliver put it, instructions for living a life. Pay attention, be astonished, tell about it. 5. Connect with others. Philosophy is not just a solitary pursuit, it's best shared with others. Engage in conversations, debate ideas, and learn from different perspectives. As the philosopher Hannah Arendt put it, the world is not humane just because it is made by human beings, but because it is and can be inhabited by human beings. Let's explore how this concept is applied in daily life. The coffee shop philosopher. You're sitting in a coffee shop, sipping your latte, and eavesdropping on a conversation between two strangers. They're debating the meaning of life, the nature of reality, or the ethics of artificial intelligence. Suddenly, you realize that you're witnessing a philosophical discussion in the wild. The commuter contemplator. You're stuck in traffic, but instead of getting frustrated, you use the time to reflect on your life, your goals, and your values. You think about the choices you've made, the challenges you've faced, and the lessons you've learned. The dinner table debater. You're having dinner with friends and the conversation turns to a controversial topic. Instead of getting into a heated argument, you engage in a respectful debate, exploring different perspectives and seeking common ground. The bottom line: philosophy is not just for academics or intellectuals. It's for anyone who's curious about the world, who wants to understand themselves better, and who wants to live a more meaningful and fulfilling life. By questioning everything, looking for patterns, embracing paradox, finding meaning in the mundane, and connecting with others, you can unlock the hidden philosophy in your everyday life and discover a world of wonder, wisdom, and possibility. As the philosopher Alan Watts put it, the menu is not the meal. So, go out there and taste the feast of life. You might be surprised at what you discover. Lesson 10. We reap what we sow. Your Karma Chameleon Guide to Cause and Effect. All right, folks, let's have a heart-to-heart about the law of cause and effect, also known as karma. No, we're not talking about some mystical force that punishes you for eating meat on Fridays or rewards you for recycling. We're talking about the simple truth that our actions have consequences, both for ourselves and for others. The ripple effect. Think of your actions like pebbles tossed into a pond. Each pebble creates ripples that spread outward, affecting everything in their path. The same goes for our choices. Every decision we make, every action we take, creates a ripple effect that can have far-reaching consequences. As the philosopher Aristotle put it, "For as it is not one swallow or one fine day that makes a spring, so it is not one day or a short time that makes a man blessed and happy." In other words, our lives are shaped not by isolated events, but by the accumulation of our choices and actions over time. The Karma Chameleon. Karma is often misunderstood as a cosmic system of punishment and reward, but it's more nuanced than that. Karma is simply the law of cause and effect, the idea that our actions have consequences that come back to us in some form or another. As the Buddhist saying goes, if you plant a mango seed, you will get a mango tree. If you plant a lemon seed, you will get a lemon tree. In other words, we reap what we sow. So, how do we use this understanding of karma to live a better life? 1. Mindful action. Be mindful of your actions and their potential consequences. Think before you speak, act with intention, and consider the impact of your choices on yourself and others. As the philosopher Immanuel Kant put it, act in such a way that you treat humanity, whether in your own person or in the person of any other, never merely as a means to an end, but always at the same time as an end. 2. Take responsibility. Own your actions and their consequences. Don't blame others, make excuses, or play the victim. As the saying goes, you can't escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today. 3. Learn from your mistakes. We all make mistakes. The key is to learn from them and not repeat them. Use your mistakes as opportunities for growth and self-improvement. As the psychologist Carol Dweck put it, in a growth mindset, challenges are exciting rather than threatening. So rather than thinking, "Oh, I'm going to reveal my weaknesses," you say, "Wow, here's a chance to grow." 4. Practice compassion. Remember that everyone is on their own journey, and we all make mistakes. Be kind to yourself and others, forgive past transgressions, and focus on creating a positive future. As the Dalai Lama said, "If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion." Let's explore how this concept is applied in daily life. The environmentalist. The environmentalist understands the interconnectedness of all things and the long-term consequences of our actions on the planet. They make choices that are sustainable and eco-friendly, knowing that their actions today will impact the world for generations to come. The ethical business leader. The ethical business leader understands that their decisions have a ripple effect on their employees, their customers, their community, and the world at large. They prioritize ethical practices, social responsibility, and sustainability, knowing that doing good is good for business. The mindful parent. The mindful parent understands that their words and actions shape their children's beliefs and values. They strive to be positive role models, teaching their children about compassion, empathy, and the importance of making responsible choices. The bottom line. We reap what we sow. It's a simple truth that has profound implications for how we live our lives. By being mindful of our actions, taking responsibility for our choices, learning from our mistakes, and practicing compassion, we can create a positive ripple effect that benefits ourselves, our communities, and the world around us. As the philosopher Mahatma Gandhi put it, "Be the change you want to see in the world." So there you have it, folks. By observing cause and effect, rolling with life's punches, and rethinking our opinions, we can live more harmonious and fulfilling lives. Remember, the Stoics believed in focusing on what we can control and letting go of what we can't. Start applying these lessons today and see how they transform your perspective and your life.